So I open the Proxy Sniffer console, and this is basically just an interface to the command line. So what you see here is how it started with all the ports, etc. Plus a window with a request response headers. At the moment it's still empty because we didn't request anything, but we will be looking into it. Here you see the administration interface, and for the administration interface I'll be using Firefox. So here in Firefox, this is where I navigate with Proxy Sniffer, and for the recording I use Chrome. So in the Chrome configuration, network, I change the proxy settings. In this case now for HTTP at localhost 7999, this is Proxy Sniffer. So if I do a request now to whatever, lognamix.com, I see in the Proxy Sniffer console the requests going through, plus the request response header. So I can look at everything that goes back and forth, just to watch it. So now I'm recording a little scenario on Coding Serbia in this case, and for this I always empty the cache. So I put this in my clipboard and I'm emptying the cache, so I have an unconditional request. So clear browsing data, everything. Now I start a recording and I name it the first request home. So this basically is just a section, I close here, to better understand the scenario afterwards. So homepage is loading. I wait for the loading wheel to finish. This is finished now. Now menu, go to the menu, speakers, insert this here, select speakers. So just goes down. I don't know if it did make any requests, so I open mic, I close mic. So third request, I go to menu, block. I can call the block here. So now this goes with proxies being recorded. Wait for the loading wheel, and then I go back to the home page, or whatever. Because it's a one-pager, it doesn't make too much sense. I can go to the contact section. It's still loading the block, that's why I'm waiting. Okay, menu. What do we have? Contact. Okay, I use this one here. Contact. So I stop the recording, and I don't need the recording browser anymore, so I close Chrome. Here I now see the scenario that has been recorded. So everything that Chrome sends through the proxy is being recorded in here. The red ones are 404, so item not found. So the base page contained something that the server doesn't know. So these are obviously, I don't know if I will find some more things to be removed. So the first step is to look really at these single requests. By clicking on them, you see request response headers, what has been transmitted. Is it being cached, using what method, etc. So just the analysis of this scenario is very important. And before executing the test now, I remove what I don't want to test. So usually I would be removing the 404, but let me remove Google Analytics. I may want to test Google Analytics in this scenario, but maybe I don't. So for this time now executing the test, I'm removing it. Here I have two more Google Analytics, 24, 28. Coding Serbia. So the home page request looks quite clean. Next. Here comes Google Analytics again, 26, 27. So this is a one-time work I'm doing now. Not so important, so I could be leaving it away and measuring Google a little bit along. 2 more, 44, 45, and then it's fine. So stop this here. So I save the scenario. I call it whatever. Serbia is the file name. I save it, and I immediately generate the load test. So there's a lot of things to be configured. I don't go into detail. We can go into detail if I want to later on. And now what happened is that I have now 3 files that were generated. First is the recording session on its own, so what I see in the background here, the details to be loaded later on. The second is the test as a Java file, and then the test as a class file. So the advantage now of this here is that if I go into the Java file, I could be adding in the test for whatever I need. So it's not no nice Java code, but everything that's been executed is here in Java. So if I need anything funky like random or injecting something, I could be doing here in the Java. And this will everything be compiled then in the class file. And this is a nice part because the only thing I need for the class, for the executing the test, is the class file itself. So it's self-contained, everything is in there. So if I want to distribute it, I can easily send the class file to multiple servers and send it. I now execute it locally. So I do a 1 concurrent user 1 minute test on my local execution agent. Execute the test. I can talk on further. Now the test is warming up. So here you see the web transaction rate, so how many transactions are being executed per second. It started with below 1, then it jumped to 4, now it continues. Here in the middle you would see session failures, and here you see the number of users generated. So it's not really interesting because I just said I wanted 1 user, and I can click on this for details. So I immediately have details during the test. So it samples results from this class file being executed. I have some details below here. So I see that 41 seconds elapsed. I have so many URL calls. I have so many failed calls. HTTP keep alive efficiency. I have a lot of interesting information already here, especially interesting information if I want to interrupt the test because I see that the application doesn't behave well. Interesting here are the command line parameters. So everything is easily scriptable. So minus U1, 1 user, duration 60 seconds, etc. Delay. I don't need to explain, but this here shows that it's very easy to do a script. So you do the class file, you do the script, and then you don't need this everything proxy sniff around. You just can execute the test. So now after the test has been executed, I see the button here, acquire test results. So the application asks the class file to deliver the results, and here I receive the results of the first test, and I immediately execute the second. So we have something, so I do 5 users now, start it again. And now it's the same thing with 5 users. Informations hopefully will change. Especially here you see the ramp up of the users. So with the first sample interval it had 2 users, then went up to 5. Here are more detailed statistics on what's being called, how many times which scenario has passed or failed. And this is just like the sample interval I'm getting. And again, I could be adding here real-time comments, so I have everything in my documentation. But I don't need this interface. Basically, I just need a Java interpreter and a class file. So if I want to distribute the test, I can easily distribute it on the cloud. Whatever cloud service, I can execute Java. I can execute it on machines that don't even have administration rights. I just need to execute Java. So it makes it very easy to put it in a realistic scenario. Running everything from my computer is not very realistic, neither the scenario I have recorded. But so we're through. It's now in the cooldown phase. So it executes every scenario to the end. So the time that's elapsed more than 1 minute is executing all the scenarios and cooling down all the users. This is why it takes a little longer. Here are users waiting for response, 4 or 5. They were stuck because they had to wait for the server. So the class file is being demanded to send back the test results. They will be quite soon. Here I acquire the test results. So, and here I have these 2 test results with the first overview, 1 user, 5 user, test duration, how many transactions per second, 0% session failures, network throughput that was generated, and immediately here I can, for example, do a load curve. Average time per session, so slightly went up, but looks okay. Web transaction rate got bigger, so it will be interesting now how it scales. This extrapolation here, or interpolation here, is not very sensible. It would need a third point, so it shouldn't look like this. No session failures, socket connect time not very low, but quite stable. No URLs, and users waiting for response just because the server couldn't take more. More details. On most of the graphics I have drill downs, so I really get details over what has been executed. And a very, very nice feature is this a PDF feature here, because you have like this full report. Do my name in here. I don't even use this. I didn't want to make comments. Now the system generates a 19-page report that looks very nice with all the results, and this you can send to your customer. So if the customer asks you, what did you do? Say, oh, I created a lot of meaningful results. And basically that's it. In this time, what I showed to you, I recorded a scenario, that I cleaned up the scenario, I created the test, I executed it once with 1 user, once with 5 users. I could be continuing now, but all in all it took me probably 10 minutes. If I'm more experienced and I don't have to talk, it's even quicker. And because everything is scriptable, it's so easy to integrate in an automated process. And this is what I wanted to show.